Welcome to Studio 5. I'm Rashid, and together with my husband, Steve Rashid, we're the artistic directors of Studio 5. And thank you. And this evening, I kind of get to host and welcome you to this evening. I'm going to give a couple of shout outs here before we get started. This beautiful carpet that you see that I'm standing on is dropped off here anytime we have a performance by the Manassian Rug Company. Yes, they are very, very good friends of ours, and they bring this beautiful rug in, and then they pick it up on Monday and take it away. And then we say, we got a show coming up, and here it is. And every time we do a show, so I just kind of want to say that in the hopes that one day, one person will go buy a rug from them, and then it will be all worth their while. Isn't it lovely? This is beautiful tonight. It's perfect. Also, this lovely grand piano is actually on loan. It is for sale. But the only thing we ask is that you wait until the end of the performance before you make the purchase. But it's good. Belongs to our dear friend, Mr. Dan and Christy Robinson, and it's on loan. And so Steve gets to play it tonight, and we're very, very grateful. Also, we rarely get to acknowledge the beautiful art on the wall, which is actually just an installation there done by Amy Woodbury, who's a beautiful painter. All the paintings you see in the Dance Center are hers, and she graciously is loaning us that gorgeous piece to put on our wall. And as she described it to me, she says that actually started as her drop cloth. And then she looked down one day and realized that there was a painting in her drop cloth, and she created that. So look at that with that in mind. It's very interesting. This evening, we have an amazing group of musicians that we're going to have here this evening. I've heard them all before. I'm very excited that they're going to be playing together. Before I introduce them, I just want to remind you that next Friday, we have Rose Colella, who's an amazing singer. She's a fantastic singer, and she will be performing here next Friday. And we have several things coming up in May, so please take a look at our calendar, which is studio5.dance, www.studio5.dance/calendar, and then you can see all of the things that are coming up. If you'd like to be in our mailing list, and you're not, please sign up at the bar. We will not bug you. Actually, Steve sends really funny and interesting emails, doesn't he? Those, you get them, right? Right? See? They're witnesses to that. They are. They're very funny, and this last one was particularly funny. Are you all waiting for your puppies? Yes. He promised puppies to anybody who comes tonight. That's good, because that means I get one too. Okay. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce this amazing group of musicians this evening. We have on guitar, Mr. Don Stiernberg, on bass, Jim Cox, on drums, Robert Rashid, and on piano, none other than my husband, Steve Rashid.
We're going to play a short set because the puppies are getting really restless backstage. What is that? Robert, you need to tune? Are you okay? Okay, good. You told me, baby, once upon a time, if I would be yours, you would be mine, but that's all right. I know you don't love me no more, but that's all right. But it seems like every now and then I wonder who's loving you tonight. You told me, baby, our love was strong. Woke up one morning, all your fine words are gone, but that's all right. I know you got yourself another boy, but that's all right. But it seems like every now and then I wonder who's loving you tonight. I was loving you, you just didn't understand. And now you're trying to fool another man, but that's alright. I know you're talking about me, but that's alright. It seems like every now and then I wonder who's loving you tonight. Yeah, it seems like every now and then I wonder who's loving you tonight. Yeah, it seems like every now and then I wonder who's loving you tonight. Thank you. Wow. This has been a year and a half that we've been doing shows here. Thank you so much for coming, by the way. Every week I host this. This is actually the first time that I've been here taking the entire evening to myself, and it feels very luxurious to be here, and especially with some of these fine musicians that are some of my favorite people as well. Thanks so much for coming. We're going to be celebrating the life of Mose Allison this evening, one of my musical heroes. If you get my newsletter or saw our posting on the website, you know a little bit about why I'm so excited about this. When I was a child, I was first introduced, one of the first musical influences I had was Mose Allison. My older brother came back from college, and with a Mose Allison record when I was a young kid, just first learning how to play the piano and first discovering that I could hear something and figure it out at the piano was a big a revelation to me, that it wasn't just what was on the page. I could actually use my ear. So the first song that I ever actually learned by myself, by listening to a record and figuring it out, was a Mose Allison song. The V8 Ford Blues. I'm getting my grave digger to make you a place. I'm coming along myself and throw some dirt in your face. I'll be right down at your burial. It's really a very bright, happy tune. And as like a 14-year-old kid, I mean, what could be better than that? Something kind of dark and nasty. There was something about Mose Allison's music. And if you're familiar with his music, you know what I'm talking about. He had a way of, in a few lines, capturing characters. And it didn't. I was much older when I was able to put it into words, but there was something about the way that he was able to craft little stories or do little character studies in just a few lines that gave us a really clear picture of a person. I think he actually may have, well, we'll get into this later, but there are some tunes that he actually stopped doing, I think. And my guess is he'd stopped doing them because I think people may have started associating him with the characters in his songs, which it's another story. But anyway, so this evening, I'm not trying to be Mose Allison. I'm not trying to mimic Mose Allison. I can only tell you that he was a big influence on me. He was born in 1927 in Tippo, Mississippi. Really kind of had a rural life, but then became a kind of a big city guy and grew up. Married the love of his life and stayed married for kind of the antithetical to a lot of jazz musicians, or certainly the stereotype of jazz musicians. He was happily married for many, many years, 60-some years, I think. We lost it in 2016 at the age of 89. Raised 4 beautiful kids, and was not a substance abuser or a hard liver like so many typical jazz stories. We hear the tragic stories. That was not Mose. The characters in his songs, however, were, and so it's kind of funny the way that it all worked out. But for some reason, his song spoke to me, and we'll get into more of that later. But we're going to jump into the next tune, which is one of my favorites of his. It's called "I Love the Life I Live." 1, 2, 3. See you watching me just like a hawk. Don't mind the way you talk, but when you touch me, something's got to give. I live the life I love, and I love the life I live. My diamond ring and my money too. Tomorrow night they could belong to you. The girls move me at their will. I live the life I love, and I love the life I live. Well, I may lay 100 on a bet this time. Tomorrow night I can't cover your dime. Next week I could be over the hill. I'm just trying to tell you people how I feel. You see me rocking as I pass you by. Don't talk about me 'cause I could be high. Just forgive me, if you will. I live the life I love, and I love the life I live. Well, I may lay 100 on a bet this time. Tomorrow night I can't cover your dime. Next week I could be over the hill. Just trying to tell you people how I feel. You see me rocking as I pass you by. Don't talk about me 'cause I could be high. Just forgive me, if you will. I live the life I love, and I love the life I live. Thank you. Pure gin, by the way. This is great. That's Don Stiernberg on the guitar over there.
How you doing, everybody?
Jim Cox on the bass. And someone who's a little bit too handsome for my liking, that's Robert Rashid over there on the drums. In addition to writing a lot of wonderful tunes, Mose had a great way of finding tunes that just kind of fit his sense of humor, his sense of style, and adapting them for his own purposes, to the point where, especially as a young person, I would listen to his records and I just assumed he wrote everything. Here's an example of something you're all going to know. It was a very famous tune. I have to say, I imagine the first time I heard this was Mose's version of this tune. So I kind of grew up thinking that it always sounded like this, but it certainly wasn't. This is a Hank Williams tune. And so without further ado, let's just do it. This, by the way, this is kind of my version of Mose's version. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? What you say, baby? I don't mean maybe. Bet we'd find a brand new recipe. Got a hot rod Ford and a $10 bill. Know a spot right over the hill. Just pretend that living is free. Why don't you come home with me? Hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? What you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? What you say, baby? I don't mean maybe. Bet we'd find a brand new recipe. Got a hot rod Ford and a $10 bill. Do anything you said I will. Don't intend to leave with a dime. Now, baby, we wasting time. Hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking? We could be cooking. How's about cooking something up with me? Oh, here's a fun one. This is one. It's the other end of the love spectrum. From Hey Good Lookin', we go to this one, which is called Meet Me at No Special Place. And you can, yeah, well, Studio5. You can meet me at Studio5, but if you can believe the song, I won't be here. Another one, actually, that wasn't one of Mose. Another one that I just assumed always that Mose wrote. And I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know who wrote it, but it kind of predates Mose's activity. I think it's from like the 30s or something, if I'm not mistaken. But. Baby, we two can't get along. 'Cause I'm never right, you're never wrong. So meet me at no special place, and I'll be there at no particular time. baby, it just ain't common sense, mixing up love and arguments. So meet me at no special place, and I'll be there at no particular time. I'm all fed up on stormy weather, going where it's June. Here's hoping that I see you never, 'cause if I do, it will be too soon. I'm all fed up on your advice, missing you will be paradise. So meet me at no special place, and I'll be there at no particular time. Better bring along your glasses in case I'm hard to find. You'll wish you could see before you as well as you can see behind. I'm all fed up on your advice, missing you will be paradise. So meet me at no special place, and I'll be there. I will be there, I will be there at no particular time. I love that one. Need a little more gin. Mose didn't often go for something overtly political in his songs, although he seemed to, a frequent theme was commenting on people with too much money or too much power and that sort of thing. But this one was probably about as close as he got, and it was one of his most famous pieces. If you know Mose's music at all, it's likely you may know this one. It's Bonnie Raitt had a great version of it. Somebody else did too, I can't remember who. But I've always loved it. And Don is switching to mandolin for this one, so it's a double bonus. Boy, that and your puppy, and you're going to go home happy. All right, ready? Ready? I can't believe the things I'm seeing. Wondering about some things I've heard. Everybody crying mercy, but they don't know the meaning of the word. Bad enough situation. is sure enough getting worse. Everybody crying just as long as there's business first. Toe to toe, touch and go. Give a cheer, get your souvenir. People running round in circles, don't know what they're headed for. Everybody crying, peace on earth, just as soon as we win this war. Straight ahead, knock 'em dead. Pack your kit, choose your hypocrite. You don't have to go to off-Broadway to see something plain absurd. Everybody crying mercy when they don't know the meaning of the word. Nobody knows the meaning of the word. Yeah, Don. Well, I decided that I would try to sneak a couple of my own pieces into this evening's performance for two reasons. One, it's my show. What are you going to do, complain to the owner? And the other reason, quite honestly, is that, as I was saying before, you know, as a young musician who was just trying to find his way and looking for musical influences, one of the things that Mose taught me by example was that music can tell stories, and it can hold characters, and that wasn't something I had really considered before. And though I don't think my music, I make quite a bit of my living is formed by writing music and producing music. So. But I don't think the stuff that I write necessarily sounds like Mose's music, but I do think that I wouldn't be the writer that I am if I hadn't been influenced by Mose. So I thought, with your indulgence, I'd sneak a couple of my pieces in here. This is something that I wrote a number of years ago that came from one of those parenting moments. I don't think you have to be a parent to relate to this, but there's that point when you're raising a child, and some of these are planned, but there are these moments that kind of mirror the experiences that you had as a child, but now you're the parent. And I mean, things like, you know, at the holidays we're gonna decorate the house just like we had when I was, you know, it's like that kind of stuff that where you kind of figure, and then other things completely sneak up on you, where suddenly, oh my God, now I'm the other character in this story. And one of them is learning how to ride a bike. Boy, I remember when Robert was a little guy and his younger brother Daniel, when we'd go out and you know, start practicing riding a bike, that suddenly that roles were flipped for me, and I was thrown back to when I was the kid on the bike. So that's what inspired this song, and I'll say no more. It's called "Running by My Side," and here's one for you, Dad. The change was jingling in your pockets. The wind was blowing in my face. You couldn't stop if I wanted to stop it. You're wobbling all over the place. Flying down the road, you're pounding the ground. The world is a blur, and I'm laughing out loud. My heart's in a knot, but I think I'm all right, 'cause your hand's on my hand, and you're running by my side. Sometimes time stands still. You don't know what to say, 'cause you're having a dream in the middle of the day. I'm flying. I'm flying. Just when to let go, so I'd still be all right. 33 years makes a boy a man. There's still plenty of things left to understand, but somehow I know, way deep inside, wherever I go, wherever I ride, your hand's by my hand, I'll be all right, 'cause you're running by my side. Thank you. Well, now we move on to something a little different. It's funny, you know, when I'm hosting these performances most weeks, I'm very, very conscious of trying to stay neutral in my any kind of political feelings or anything like that. It's absolutely fine for me if artists express themselves however they want. This is their stage, it's their show, do whatever they want. But I kind of feel like I'm trying to be like Johnny Carson, you know, like nobody had any idea what his political leanings were. And I sort of feel like that's sort of, like nobody's here to hear the host kind of spout off about something. Well, this is now, it's my show. So I kind of struggled with, well, so where does that, so I decided to just jump in and go for it. So, is anybody here that was here for our New Year's show? Oh, wow, a couple. All right, good. Well, then this might be an opportunity for you to go out and have a smoke. If you don't smoke, maybe you want to take it up. But because this is something I did for our New Year's show, well, I will just introduce it the way I did on New Year's. It had to do with this past year. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're like me, then you are 6'4" and ripped. I'm just kidding. You're a jazz musician and a concerned citizen. And in 2017, You found yourself having to confront realities and defy all logic and common sense. And you've thought and said things you've never imagined possible. And you're exhausted, and you've said words that aren't even words, like Reince Priebus and Covfefe. By the way, little known fact, Covfefe is actually Reince Priebus' wife's name. It's Reince and Covfefe Priebus. Anyway, and you may have gotten nostalgic and wistful for things and people that by comparison to our present day standards seem not only acceptable, but downright cute. For those of you. Well, just for old time's sake, let's take a walk down memory lane, shall we? I'm just going to put this right here so you can dwell on that. As you imagine old number 43 painting puppies and chuckling his little chuckle, I've got a song for you that's written entirely in the words of George W. Bush. Yes, the stirring music you're about to hear is all mine, but the inspirational words are entirely his, and I kid you not. I know the human being and the fish can coexist peacefully. Will the highways on the internet become more few? I know how hard it is to put food on your family. Rarely is the question asked, is our children learning? Our nation must come together to unite. Our priorities is our faith. Families is where our nation finds hope. Where wings take dream. More and more of our imports come from overseas. We ought to make the pie higher. You teach a child to read and he or her will be able to pass a literacy test. Nothing can be further than the truth. Our nation must come together to unite. Our priorities is our faith. Families is where our nation finds hope. Where wings take dream. I was raised in the west of Texas. It's pretty close to California, in more ways than Washington, D.C. is close to California. When I was coming up, it was a dangerous world, and you knew exactly who they were. It was us versus them, and it was clear who them was. Today, we are not so sure who the they are, but we know they're there. And there's no bigger task than protecting the homeland of our country with a clear statement of purpose. You disarm, or we will. And so, in my State of the Union, or state, or speech to the, whatever you want to call it, the speech to the nation, state of the budget address, whatever you call it, I made a point that that's a chapter. The last half of the 20th, the 21st century that most of us would rather forget. The last chapter of the 20th century. This is the first chapter of the 21st century. And I think we can all agree, the past is over. Our nation must come together to unite. Let's see those hands in the air. Our priorities, yes, is our faith. Families is where our nation finds hope, where wings take dream. They misunderestimated me. Wow. That's actually from a show called W that I wrote with my buddy Tom Eula in 2004. And thank you, sir, for coming to the show. That was about half of our audience, but we almost single-handedly put John Kerry over the top that year. Yeah. Okay, back to Mose. This is something, actually, another one that he didn't write, but again, by God, I thought he did. It was a Muddy Waters tune. And I could never understand what Mose was singing, the words that he's saying, so I just sort of like made up my own to go along with him. And then turns out that I think he wasn't singing the actual words that were written, but we're going to do our version of it. It's called Baby, Please Don't Go. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go down to New Orleans because I love you so. Turn your lamp down low. Turn your lamp down low. Now turn your lamp down low because I love you so. Now baby, please don't go. got me way down here. They got me way down here by the rolling fog, treat me like a dog. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Mm-mm. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Oh, thank you. Oh, that was the end of the set. Gosh darn it! Is that right? Is that right? Yeah. All right. Well, let's do one more. Let's do one more, and yeah, because I was planning on doing two more anyway. If you know Mose Allison's music, it's very likely that this. If you only know one Mose Allison song, let me poll the audience. What would be the one Mose Allison song you might know? Anybody who's a Mose Allison fan? Oh, wow. No. It's this one. And we're going to end our set with this one. Once again, that's Robert Rashid on the drums, Jim Cox on the bass, Don Stiernberg on the guitar. My name is Steve Rashid. Oh, there's one thing I want to tell you, and I don't know, I actually missed part of Bea's introduction, so she may have said this, she may not have. We have got a lovely relationship with WDCB, the jazz station here. Oh, okay. Well, I'll say it now then. A lovely relationship with WDCB, the jazz station here in Chicago, and they have been big champions of everything we do here. We're so grateful. And as a matter of fact, we record all of our shows here, and we have a show almost every Tuesday night at WDCB called Chicago Jazz Live. I'm the host of the show, and the radio shows consist entirely of shows that we do here. So the shows that we do here, we record. My buddy Sam Fishkin's up there recording, doing the audio and video recording for us right now. He's doing a great job with our buddy Howard, who's helping him. So we record the shows, and then they go out over the air on subsequent weeks. So they get edited down to a 1-hour broadcast. So this show is no different. So you are part of a studio audience this evening. The one twist is that at the top of the second set on every show, I always come out and interview the artist, and then that just becomes part of the radio show. Well, I was thinking I could just sit here and talk to myself, but that would be just like being at home. So instead, we're going to flip it around, and you folks are going to interview the band. So Bea is going to walk around with the microphone. So think of some questions. If you come up with a good question, you can ask us, and we'll answer. It'll just be a brief little thing, and you'll be on the radio. So, but first, we're going to do one more quick tune here for you, and get the heck out of here. The bar will be open. I know you're all happy about that, and then we'll be back with another set of music. So, where we're going? This is the one song that you do know. I hate doing this now because you're such a lovely crowd, but it is kind of mean to y'all. 1, 2, oh, 1, 2, 3. Sitting there yakking, right in my face, coming out exactly like you own the place. You know, if silence was golden, you couldn't raise a dime. Because your mind's on vacation, but your mouth is working overtime. You're quoting figures and dropping names, telling stories and playing games. You're over laughing when things ain't funny, trying to sound like you don't need money. Well, if talking is criminal, you'd be leading a life of crime. Cause your mind's on vacation, but your mouth is working overtime. life is short, and talk is cheap. Don't be making promises that you can't keep. You don't like the song I'm singing, grin and bear it. All I can say is if the shoe fits, wear it. And if you must keep talking, please try to make it rhyme. 'Cause your mind's on vacation, but your mouth is working overtime. Yeah, your mind's on vacation, but your mouth is working overtime. That's the one. Thank you. We'll be right back.
And Steve Rashid, John Stiernberg, Jim Cox, and Robert Rashid. And now we come to the Q&A portion of the program. Would you like to talk about that?
Sure. Thanks for sticking around, by the way.
Oh, by the way, you can still have drinks while we're talking because it's not officially the second act.
All right.
So you can avail yourself up to the bar until he plays a note, and then no more. Let me cut you
I'll
off.
keep my hands off the keys. Is there, by the way, before I get started, is there a fella here named Matt Cayley? No? No? Okay. Then I can say bad things about him. No, I'm just kidding. I got the yesterday on Facebook, which I'm almost never on Facebook, but I was made aware that we got a couple of really nice mentions on our Facebook site, a page, the Studio5 page, one from John Allison, Mose's son, who said that he wished he could be here. And he reached out to me the last time we did a Mose show, and it was very, very sweet. And a fellow named Matt Cayley, who apparently lives in the area here, who said that he is Mose's nephew, and he was going to try to make the show. So if he was here, I was going to actually interview him for a minute, but no go. All right, so as I explained earlier, the top of the second set always is a little bit of an interview, and so we're going to flip it around and let you folks... Hello. I didn't do it. Interview anybody in the band you want to, or Bea for that matter. But can we have a little? Are the house lights up all the way, Sam? A little bit up. A little bit more, so I can see what the. Oh, look at those! It's a most attractive crowd. Charlie Vernon has a question. So, all right. So hold on a second.
I seem to remember more Bonnie Raitt covers. Is that possible? Did she do any other covers?
Bonnie Raitt, did Bonnie Raitt do any more covers of Mose Allison tunes? The one that I was very aware of was the one I did. Everybody's Cryin Mercy. Don, do you know? Don happens to know a lot of Bonnie Raitt music. Do you know if she covered any other Mose tunes?
I'm thinking.
Let me ask you this: is there a song called "Please Believe Me, I Feel the Same"? Could that possibly be Mose Allison?
That's not what I'm aware of. So it could be. I don't claim to know everything he's done, but so I don't know. Chris Mitter. Somebody's. Oh wow! Somebody's either has a great memory or is fast with their phone. Don, did you know the answer to that first question? Do you know of any other? Did Bonnie Raitt cover any other Mose tunes that you know of?
I haven't thought of any yet, but I
Okay.
wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. All right. So
I
we
think,
got a maybe there.
I was thinking when we did the one that she did. What was that?
Everybody Cryin Mercy.
Yeah, I think Van Morrison might have also done that.
He did. He did a yes. Bonnie Raitt for 25 then, yes.
I'm curious, particularly for Don and Steve, what kind of experiences in your early life, particularly college, impacted where you are today in your musical career as Midwestern college attendees?
Wow. Well, let's pull the veil off. Betsy Bear, our good friend Betsy Bear, and Don and I all went to college together. So there's where that question came from. Ripon College in Wisconsin. Ripon College in Wisconsin, a beautiful town. Happens to be my hometown, and also where Don and I met and where we first played music. And we don't even want, it was back in the last century. I'll get it that specific. Not the middle of the century. But Don and I were in different bands. I had a band, Don had a band, and then we sort of discovered each other and formed a band together. It was Don's, Don sort of started the whole thing rolling, and we started, there were 6 of us, Don, in that group?
Yep.
Called Special Blend. And we played music together in college. And then, truth be told, Don moved down to this area, and he was ahead of me in school, and he graduated. And then after I graduated, I said, well, now what am I going to do? So I moved down to Chicago. I followed Don down here. And that's how I wound up in Chicago, thanks to my good buddy Don. So does that answer your question?
I'll say.
Okay, go ahead, Don.
I'll address Betsy's question about what did we get in our educational experience at a small Midwestern college, and what I got was I got to meet Steve, and that was where I was exposed to Mose Allison's music. I knew nothing about it until I heard Steve playing, and I actually heard him at a talent show in the freshman men's dorm. They played like a talent night, and he was actually playing some of these tunes. I should remember exactly which one, but he was playing the blues on the harmonica and the piano with a drummer and a bass player. And I heard him play probably a Mose Allison tune, and I thought to myself, oh, I got to meet this guy. And the next day, I went to his room. I think it was in that same dorm.
Mm-hmm. Scott Hall.
I actually knocked on the door and said, I think we need to make a band.
That's how things happened back then.
But I wouldn't have known anything about, Mose Allison music or blues or jazz or anything like that if I hadn't run into Steve up there.
Well, that was a very mutual experience we had of sharing things back and forth. Don had came from both a jazz background and sort of a country and bluegrass background, and our overlap was jazz. And so we sort of met there, but we learned, I think we shared a lot with each other, different styles of music and different artists, and he still continues to teach me to this day.
We're still going to try to play until we get something right.
Anybody else have any questions?
Here's one over
I see one over here.
All right, go for it. Glad you can see, because I can't see squat.
Hi, Steve. It's Karen.
Oh, hi, Karen.
Hi. Hi, Robert. Hey. I was just going to ask if Robert, what influences has had on Robert's musical experience in life?
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
I
Bea,
love
maybe you might
Robert.
have to take the mic over to him then.
This won't feedback if I
No, you're fine. We got a professional up there in the booth.
Wow, okay, so first of all, I feel really fortunate that I get to do this with my dad, just overall. It's the most amazing experience that's like, I don't think many people get to really do something creatively with their parents and with their family. And I think it keeps us really, really close. We're always talking to each other about our projects and what we're doing, and he's scoring stuff for my mom and doing his own thing, and I've got bands, but we always are talking and always collaborating, and it's like, keeps us incredibly close. I think a lot of people don't necessarily have, and I feel really fortunate for that. And because of my dad's influence, I grew up playing a lot of jazz music, and now I saw my drum instructor Kevin Connolly is here, and I want to thank him because
Kevin is
he
here.
is the
Oh
man,
my.
and now I'm really
There he
intimidated
is.
for the second act because I just saw him. So it's gonna be a rough one. But yeah, so I studied, I started playing with my dad. My dad got me hooked up with Kevin, who gave me lessons, and it really just began my playing was in jazz ensembles. And now I'm kind of morphed and gone from that. Now I play a lot of rock music, and I play in some some other bands in the city. But the feel of this has really propelled me forward, and I think that I use these type of these songs and this type of feel that kind of roots my playing, which is kind of fun no matter what genre I'm playing. So, and the fact that we get to stay so close is
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah, and I will echo that. It's been a true joy. One of the true joys of my life has been able to continue to play music with Robert. We had a very funny experience when we were rehearsing for this because Robert was playing very kind of subtly and quiet, and he goes, "I'm playing almost nothing. This is the opposite of what I do." Okay, we'll take one more, and then we'll continue on. Yes?
A lot more. It's fun.
Steve, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
As a host of this venue, this
Uh-huh.
wonderful venue,
Oh, thank you.
have you thought about what your goal is for this? Is this a jazz performance space, or have you thought about expanding that eventually? And to be truly transparent, I like jazz, I love folk, and I love Americana, and not to be a space that would compete with space.
Sure.
But I think that this would be a marvelous place for Americana and for folk. Have you ever thought about that?
Well, I thank you for the question. I do consider myself a musical omnivore. I mean, I really do like a lot of styles of music. There's few styles as styles that don't resonate with me on some level. So I understand exactly what you're feeling, and I share that feeling actually. For my what it really kind of boils down to in this space is that we have limited dates that we can actually use the space because it is a multi-use space. So it's used by the students for sometimes it's used. We have dance performances. We try to and answer your question about what is our goal is to present some music, some theater, and some dance. Theater we are limited because we can't really bring sets in, but we've done a couple one-person shows here, that sort of thing. And of course, dance. We present dance whenever we can, and when we can do dance with live music, that's a bonus, and we love doing that. Musically, just because I'm rooted in jazz, and we have got this relationship with WDCB, and I know that when we do jazz performances here, I can broadcast them. It helps me to sort of focus my energies on being kind of self-contained. And I'm not trying to flatter myself, but jazz musicians in town have been very eager to get here to play, and I'm very grateful for that. But as a result, I've got 17 musicians that are sort of in the queue waiting for the few empty dates that we've got coming up. I mean, for example, we have a show next week, then we have 2 weeks when we don't have shows because for one reason or another, we're not able to have the space, or we're traveling or something like that, and then we're back again. So it's not even every week that we can do a show, and we can't handle doing about more than one show a week. So if I expand it to other genres, I'm going to be a big target, and we'll get a lot of other musicians and other styles that will be approaching us about wanting to perform here, which I'm very grateful for, but it just kind of helps me stay focused. So. Yes, I would love to have other styles. I don't know how we could sort of accommodate that in our current sort of setup. But I love it. I love it all.
I got a question.
Yes, Don Stiernberg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just Don is fine.
Okay.
In the back of our band tonight, we have the greatest bass player in the world.
Yes, we do.
And I was just wondering if anybody had a question for him. No, I'm not kidding. Somebody might want to ask Jim a question about what it's like to be
there's
greatest
a
bass player in the world.
lady up there. What's it like being the greatest bass player in the world? That could be the question right there.
That could be the question. I'm really enjoying your playing. I see that you have a bow quiver, and I'm wondering, and you've been using your plucking technique. Do you ever play with a bow?
Oh yes, that's my.
I'm bringing a mic.
Actually, my degree is in bass performance, classical bass performance. But I realized when I played in the orchestra that I could never get my bow to go the same direction as everybody else. So I decided but I was also always interested in jazz. I actually play in a lot of other groups where I use the bow a lot. Yeah, I really enjoy it too.
Play a little bit.
Well, that and Don doesn't let him use a bow.
That's right.
So
Jim does play in my trio, and the bow is not allowed there.
Are you ready?
all right. I am ready.
Are we ready to go?
Ready to go.
Okay.
Hey,
here we
thanks
go.
a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your questions.
This will air sometime probably in June, I would guess, and so listen for yourselves on the radio. All right, we're going to continue on. This is another one of Mose's tunes. I love this tune, and it was sort of a recent rediscovery. I had learned it, kind of forgot it, and then was going through tunes for this evening and went, oh, yeah, that one. So we're going to just dive into it. It's called Don't Forget to Smile. One of hers, I think kind of sort of a lesser-known tune, but it shouldn't be. 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't know what you're doing. You're on the road to ruin. You know you better watch your step. You're soon gonna be needing help. You won't hear rhyme or reason. You think that's out of season. But don't try to walk away. Not until I've had my say. Remember, baby, back in 58, you tried to tell me you were going straight. Now here we are, 1964. You want me to sit around and take some more. You don't care who you step on. You think you got a secret weapon. But when your luck runs out, you know what I've been talking about. everything would be just fine. Now here we are, 1964. You want me to stick around and take some more. You know you can't be trusted, 'cause you're bound to wind up busted. And when you're walking your last mile, baby, don't forget to smile. By the way, somebody, when I did Meet Me at No Special Place in the first set, somebody, I think it was Dan Robinson, mentioned that to Bea during the break, that Nat Cole had a version of that tune, which is true, and I looked it up during the break. It was written by 3 people I'd never heard of, but the first recording of that was Nat Cole, and it jogged my memory. It was hearing Nat Cole's version that made me realize that Mose hadn't written the song. So here's another old song again that I thought that Mose had written. This is definitely from the 30s. It's called You're a Sweetheart. And I always loved this tune. This actually may have been the song that Don heard me play back in college, because I've been doing this since I was probably 17. But I've always loved this tune. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. You're a sweetheart, if there ever was one. If there ever was one, it's you. Life without you was an incomplete dream. You're my only sweet dream come true. My search was such a blind one. My heart was all at sea. I never thought I'd find one so perfect for me. You're a sweetheart, if there ever was one. If there ever was one, it's you. You're a sweetheart, if there ever was one. If there ever was one, it's you. Whoa, whoa. Life without you was an incomplete dream. You're my only sweet dream come true. My search was such a blind one. My heart was all at sea. I never thought I'd find one so perfect for me. You are a sweetheart, if there ever was one. If there ever was one, it's you. If there ever was one, it's you. And then nice tune. Love that tune. We lost the great Stephen Hawking a couple months ago, I'm sorry to say. And this is a tune that Mose couldn't have imagined I would dedicate to Stephen Hawking, but I would like to dedicate to Stephen Hawking. And I would love to know where this tune came from. Mose wrote it, but I would love to know what he was thinking. I'm just going to start. Okay. Your molecular structure is really something fine. A first-rate example of a function of design. Its cosmic undulations are steady coming through. Your molecular structure, baby, me and you. Your cellular organization is really something choice. Electromagnetism bound to make me lose my voice. Got all my systems open, my systems reading go. Your cellular organization, baby, stop the show. Molecular structure is really something swell. A high frequency modulated Jezebel. Thermodynamically, you're getting to me. Your molecular structure, baby, ooh-wee. Oh, man. Oh, yikes. We're going to sneak in another. This is a tune that, actually, a tune that Mose didn't write, and he didn't record, but he should have. And he could have. It was written in 1968, and I've changed one line in it. You could, I'm sure you're going to find out what it is. But it was written by the great Dave Frischberg, and I just thought it fit so nicely with the evening. Even though it wasn't the Mose tune, it certainly fit with the feeling. So I'm going to do this one next. It's called "I'm Hip." I'm hip, I'm no square, I'm alert, I'm awake, I'm aware. I am always on the scene, making the rounds, digging the sounds. I read People magazine, 'cause I'm hip. Like Dig, I'm in step. When it was hip to be hep, I was hep. I don't blow, but I'm a fan. Look at me swing, ring-a-ding-ding. I even call my girlfriend man, 'cause I'm hip. Now every Saturday night, with my suit buttoned tight and my suede's on, I'm getting my kicks, digging arty French flicks with my shades on. Because I'm too much, I'm a gas. I am anything but middle class. When I'm hanging round the band, popping my thumbs, digging the drums, squares don't seem to understand why I flip. They don't hip like I'm hip. Yeah, I'm hip. Yeah, I'm hip, but not weird. Like, you notice I don't wear a beard. Beards were in, but now they're out. They had their day, now they're passé. Just ask me if you're in doubt, 'cause I'm hip. Yeah, I'm hip. I'm alive. I enjoy any joint where there's jive. I'm on top of every trend. Look at me go, Vodiodo. Michael Bublé knows my friend. I'm so hip. Now I'm deep into Zen, meditation and macrobiotics. And as soon as I can, I intend to get into narcotics. Because I'm cool as a cuke. I'm a cat, I'm a card, I'm a kook. I get so much out of life. Really I do, scoobity-boo. One more time, play Mac the Knife, let her rip. I may flip, but I'm hip. Yeah, I'm hip. Skidoodly-dooby-dooby-dooby. Isn't that fun? Well, speaking earlier of my hometown, Ripon, Wisconsin, where Don and I and Betsy all met, this is actually a tune drawn completely from memory of my childhood. And by that I mean every line in this song either actually happened or it's a feeling that I remember having back then. So I'll leave it at that. Uncle Irv said, Bobby, come have a seat. And I said, Uncle Irv, Bob is not my name. But I love my big brother, so it's all the same. And Aunt Grace said, I hope it doesn't rain. Dad's flipping burgers at the Kiwanis tent. The burlap bags of hot steamed corn are waiting on the ground. Guys playing sheep's head over by the butcher shop. They all look up when they hear that sound. Marching right down Watson Street. The old men salute, the babies crying, children jump for joy, run alongside it. First come the Cub Scouts walking tall, then the vets from WWI. Then the sound starts bouncing off the 5 and dime. And here they come in perfect time. Can you feel that beat? The band comes marching right down Watson Street. The old men salute, the babies crying, children jump for joy, run alongside it. Cigars smoke in the air, flags waving everywhere. This is the greatest country in the world. Don't you wish that you were there? Don't you wish that you were there? Feel that beat? The band comes marching right crossing the street. The old men salute, the children crying, children jump for joy, run alongside it. True story. All right, we've got time for just 2 more numbers for you. This is one that was just kind of brings it full circle back to Chicago. This is a tune by Willie Dixon that Mose did a version of, Chicago's own Willie Dixon, and I always loved this tune. Again, the first version I heard of it, I Led a Sheltered Life, was Mose's version. But many people have recorded it, but Mose had a particularly nice version, and this is not so much his version, but it's based on it. 2, 1, 2, 3. Everybody's talking about the 7th son. In the whole round world, there's only one, and I'm the one. Yes, I'm the one. Well, I'm the one they call the 7th son. I can tell your future, it will come to pass. I can do things for you, make your heart feel glad. Look in the sky, predict the rain. I can tell when a woman's got another man. I'm the one. Yes, I'm the one. Well, I'm the one they call the 7th son. That will sound so sweet. They will even make your little heart skip a beat. I can heal the sick, raise the dead, and make the little girls talk out of their head. I'm the one. Yes, I'm the one. Well, I'm the one they call the 7th son. Yes, I'm the one they call the 7th son. Thank you very much. Thanks again for coming out, for supporting live music anywhere, and particularly for being here to support this. We appreciate it. I'm speaking both as a guy at the piano and the guy who is with Bea put together Studio5. We're very grateful whenever anybody takes time out of their day and to come and be here. So we're very happy for that. Once again, let's hear it for Robert Rashid on the drums over there. That's Jim Cox on the bass. And our good buddy Don Stiernberg on all those stringed instruments. And we'd, of course, like to thank Mose Allison for a life well lived and, oh my God, and all this beautiful music. If we can be just a small part of helping keep his music alive, we're very grateful for the opportunity. We're going to leave you with this one last Mose tune. This is another one that I've just always loved. So many of his things were kind of blues-based. This is no exception. And another one that I've always loved called Eyesight to the Blind. 2, 1, 2, 3. Talk about your woman, I wish you could see mine. Talking about your woman, I wish you could see mine. Every time I start loving, she bring eyesight to the blind. I know her daddy's got some money, I can tell by the way she walk. I know her daddy's got some money, I can tell by the way she walk. Every time I start shaking, the dumb begin to talk. And she was lying on the bed, and man next door was dying. He raised up his head and said, "Ain't she pretty? Don't you know she's fine?" Well, one look at that woman bring eyesight to the blind. I declare she's pretty and the whole state knows she's fine. I declare she's pretty and the whole state knows she's fine. Every time I start loving, she bring eyesight to the blind. Yeah, one look at that woman bring eyesight to the blind. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Steve Rashid, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Rashid.
We want one more, don't you think?
Okay. We have one.
Quick or the Arnold will kick us out.
We're yeah. We're actually going to sneak in one more of mine. I hope that's all right. This is Jim. Can we tell that funny story you told about Marion?
Oh.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Bea, where's that mic? Right here. Okay. Yeah, give it to Jim. Thank you. We had this when we were rehearsing this tune. It's a little bit slower tempo, and Jim had now. Mose was like a lot of individual artists that worked in small ensembles. He had different rhythm section, because he was a piano player and a singer. He had different rhythm sections around the country, and when he would play different cities, he would call up the same guys or musicians that would play with him in the different cities, so that he would travel by himself but pick up these players, and it was a very regular thing. So in Chicago, Bob Rummage and Kelly Sill, great drummer and bass player, would play regularly with Mose when he was in Chicago. Jim had a similar relationship with Marion McPartland, the great Marion McPartland. And so whenever Marion was in this area, Jim was her bass player, and beyond. You did a lot of traveling with her as well. But when we were rehearsing, we thought, well, we better have one more prepared just in case. And this one, I picked just because I like doing it. And I thought, well, we could, if it didn't make the cut for the whole show, but I thought, oh, we'll throw it in. But it is a little bit slower. So Jim had this story about Marion.
So when we're doing concerts with Marion, they asked for an encore, and she wanted to, get the concert over with. So she would go out by herself and play a very slow ballad. So to kind of calm everybody down and to call it a night.
So that wasn't actually the intent with this one, but who knows? This is, and I'll keep the story brief, but there was a point several years ago where I got really into the novels of Raymond Chandler, the film, the noir writer, detective writer. Philip Marlowe was his protagonist, and after a point, I stopped caring about what the stories were about and just kind of read them for the language, because he had these great turns of phrase that were just wonderful. In fact, I wrote a couple of them down so I wouldn't forget. She smelled the way the Taj Mahal looks by moonlight. A great line. And I'm an occasional drinker, the kind of guy who goes out for a beer and wakes up in Singapore with a full beard. So, I mean, it's like page after page of this great, great stuff. And so I thought, wouldn't it be fun to just construct a song that was kind of just loaded with that language? So I stole a bunch of lines from Raymond Chandler, and then there was also a book, actually I meant to bring it with me, but I forgot. It was a wonderful book that I picked up quite a while ago called Straight from the Fridge, Dad, and it's a dictionary of hipster slang from the 30s and 40s. And Straight from the Fridge, Dad was slang for cool. And so, with the help of my volume of Raymond Chandler books and my dictionary of hipster slang, I put together this story about the time in 1949 when I was hanging out with Benny Goodman. So, it's just called, so this little bit of nonsense is called Oh Benny. And we thank you again for indulging us. So me and Benny Goodman were hanging out at Condon's, swapping a few sides and knocking a few back. I brought some Prez. He had the latest Clifford. Benny always packed the wildest wax. So we're hanging loose and talking looser, like who's cubistic and who's a cat. And Benny starts doing next week's drinking. And I say, Pops, don't go lose your hat. And he says, Steve, man, I know my groceries. And when I have a thought, I brain it around. The way I see it, this gig is over. The big bands are going down. Oh, Benny, don't be a fool. No need to upset yourself, 'cause you're the king of swing, and that's cool. You're groovy as a movie, So put your worries on the shelf. You still rule the school. But Benny says, these little hepcats with their ooh-bop and their zoot suits and goatees and glasses and French berets. And me, I'm just trying to blow my rosewood. Looks like the Ray has had his day. So Benny's fussing and he's spitting and he's fuming and meanwhile there's a ruckus out on the street. 'Cause up pulled a ragtop and out pops chicken dinner. And the skirt yells, where's that lion cheek? And I say, Benny, you happen to know that muffin? He said, oh, Pop, that blonde from the Belvedere. She'd make a bishop kick a stained glass window. But I stiffed her for lunch and cab fare here. Uh-oh. Well, the door flies open and in walks trouble. She's dressed in red with her gauge up max. She throws a chair, locks her lamps on Benny. And Benny jumps right out the back. Oh, Benny, did you really leave? I know you must protect yourself, 'cause you're the king of swing, and I'm Steve. But man, you left me hanging. This chick's about to blow a fuse from here to Santa Cruz. She's on fire and she's hot as a rocket. She shoots me a look I can feel in my pocket. I don't know my elbow from my shoe. She could thrill me or kill me. Benny, what am I supposed to do? So that was the last time I laid my eyes on Benny. The king of swing changed my life. He was the master, and I owe him plenty. Anyway, that's the story of how I met my wife. It's true. Thanks very much.
Steve Rashid, everybody, Don Stiernberg, Jim Cox, and Robert Rashid. Thank you so much for coming. Get home safely this evening. Thank you.